Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Second City podcast. We are back for our third season, our third football season, covering Blues and Villa and everything West Midlands football. It's an absolute privilege to be back. My name's Daniel Sketchley. I'm joined by Callum Byrne, as always. How are you, Cal? Did you have a good summer?
I did. It's been a busy summer, and the set all looks a bit different from my side today because literally in the middle of moving house. So the football season has come at the worst possible time for me
Yeah.
because it's been very, very busy. But we're back. It's going to happen anyway, and we're going to
Yeah.
be there covering it pretty much every step of the way.
Yeah, congratulations on the move. So yeah, please excuse like Cal's. I'm sure Cal doesn't have his normal mic and setup and all that. So if you're watching on YouTube as well, so please ignore all that. It's all good. He's here. That's what counts. So congrats on the move and all that stuff. How's your well, I'm saying this as if we haven't seen each other quite a bit or spoken quite a bit. But how's your summer been? Let's have a quick catch up first on a personal level. How have you been? You've done much with your summer?
Yeah, I had a little holiday at the start of June. Been away with work quite a lot through most of July. But then this month's just seeing lots of people. So no traveling,
Yeah.
just moving house. So it's been a good summer. It's been a good summer. I've enjoyed it. The sun's been out. It's been nice weather,
Yeah.
and didn't watch an ounce of the Club World Cup, and it was great.
No, me neither. I could not be asked for that at all. Not.
How's
I
your
was
summer
more
been
interested in
anyway,
like the
Dan?
political situation with it. Yeah, it's been good, thanks. It's been good. It's yeah, I've had some exciting news recently, but I'm not going to sort of share it too much just yet. Just in case, like sort of touch wood, or maybe mention it in a couple of weeks or months whenever it's a bit more appropriate. But no, yeah, all good. As you say, weather's been good. We went to a few gigs. That was fun. Yeah, it's been pretty calm. I haven't been on holiday. We went to Milan in March. I haven't been away otherwise, but no, it's been fun. Enjoyed the healthy break from football. I think obviously we didn't have a like a oh we obviously we had the women's Euros. We didn't have like a sort of a men's national tournament this year, international tournament. But I think it's healthy to have a break from it all and kind of come back recharged and so on. So no, it's been good. It's been a decent summer for movies and stuff. That's been fun as well. The weather's been good, like you say. So no, yeah, it's been pretty chilled. But yeah, of course, it's nice to be back and still summer and the football starting is always exciting. Obviously, Blues are starting Friday night as well. We're getting it all going on Friday night. So looking forward to all that. And that's kind of what we're going to generally talk about today. We're going to have a bit of a catch up on pre-season and signings and the new kits and all that jazz. So yeah, should be pretty fun if that all sounds good to you, Cal. A bit more informal maybe, but should be good.
And maybe a few predictions in there at the end going into the new season.
Absolutely, that would be it wouldn't be a season preview without it, would it?
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. Before we get into that, Cal, shall we start what we always do with what we're wearing?
Yes.
Have you
And
prepped for
thank
what we're wearing is the question. Yeah.
I have. I literally have one shirt not packed, which is the one I'm wearing. And one Villa shirt. I have more
That's
than
fair
one
enough.
actual
Yeah.
shirt. So this is all I
Yes.
have right
Yeah, of
now.
course. Yeah.
It's been a bit of a drama recently because I had this shirt and I ruined it in the wash and had to buy a new one. So this is the new one.
Oh, yeah, you were saying, sorry, yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay, well we'll start with you then. I'll have a guess what it is. You mentioned something about it in the WhatsApp group. I can't
I
remember all
did.
the details, slash ignored most of it, but uh it's a Kazoo sponsored Kappa home shirt. It's fairly recent. I know you mentioned it was I know you got Ollie Watkins on the back.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that. There it is, Watkins 11. I just want to think what season it is.
Well,
You have
the
Adidas at the
Watkins
minute. You've
11
had them
should narrow it down for you.
for a couple of years. Well, I mean, yeah, I know it's like the last couple of seasons, but you've had Adidas for a couple of years, so I'm going to say it's 22, 23 home is going to be my guess.
You're a year out. It's 21-22. It's the Smith Gerrard
Gosh,
home
no.
shirt, the post Jack Grealish season, where and post COVID as well. So first home game of the season, back in the stands, we wore this kit. We beat Newcastle 2 now, I think. El Ghazi scored. Danny Ings scored a bicycle kick. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen at Villa Park. It was an absolutely fantastic goal. The season was a bit rubbish though. Obviously, Dean Smith was sacked. We struggled after Jack Grealish had left, and then Steven Gerrard, God help us all, came in, and originally kind of steered us away from relegation troubles just around the sort of winter time, and then we were kind of rubbish after that. We won like a handful of games towards the end of the season, but we did sign Philippe Coutinho in this kit, and we had a very lovely loan spell. The permanent signing didn't go very well, but the loan spell was great. I had a bit of a great away day, final day of the season where we did lose to through Manchester City and they won the league 3-2. But for 75 minutes, it was phenomenal. It was brilliant. And then it all fell apart right at the end. But not a great season, but our kits, it was our last season with Kappa, and the kits on the whole were really, really good. The away kit was it was celebrating the 40th anniversary of the European Cup win. So that was a gorgeous sort of remake of that kit. And as home shirts go, I'd say it's one of my favourite Villa home kits. I don't know, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. I really like it. So bad season, great kit.
That was the name of a podcast we did once. Could
Yeah.
be a name of many podcasts we've done, I think, possibly. I forget how long Watkins has played for Villa, really, now. It's been like 5, 6 years now, hasn't it?
Yeah, that
It's
was his
kind of,
second
that's why I thought it was
season with
about
us.
22,
So
23, because I felt probably that long ago. Yeah, blimey. Fair enough. What do you think I am wearing then? I'm going to stand up so you can see a little better and hope this chair doesn't break on me again. But yes, here we go.
so he's in an Umbro Penguin kit, F&C investments on the front, um, Umbro logos, centralized badge. I just realized as well the Umbro logo isn't actually on the front of the kit; it's just on the
Yeah,
sleeves. Some sort of weird blue
it's
zebra
not.
pattern
Good
under
spot.
the arms. I know the era.
Hmm.
It's the late
Yeah.
noughties era. Pretty sure it was a McLeish kit. And I think it was a Premier League kit as well, rather than a Championship kit. I know that there was a couple of kits around that era that all sort of blur into one for me. But I think this is something like
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
either like
behind me
us,
here, for those watching on YouTube, I've got the red penguin one as well.
yeah, which does have the Umbro logo centralized. With it.
It does, yeah,
Uh,
just above the badge. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's like 06, 07. I think it's the year where you and Reading were in the Premier League at the same time. If you had like Oliver Capo, Gary O'Connor, that kind of era.
You've got it all bang on. You're just 1 year out. You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. You know the season, all that stuff. You're just 1 year out. This was 2007, 8. Shout out to my folks who got me this for my birthday about a month ago now. Yeah, 07, 08. I've not talked about this season much at all. I did the away kit of this on like one of the very first podcasts we did, like nearly 2 years ago now. But yeah, I've for ages of trying to track down this home shirt from 2007. 18 years old this kit is now, which is mind blowing. Um, yeah, this was a yeah, Premier League season, as you said. We did sadly get relegated, but it is a beautiful kit, a penguin kit, lovely. And I wasn't mad on any of our kits this season, which we'll get onto a bit more later. So I kind of thought I'll get another one I haven't got before, like a retro, what is now retro, amazingly. Yeah, 2007, 8. And my memories of this season, obviously, it was relegation. I think I was how old was I? I was about 10. Um, Probably a little bit unlucky to get relegated in hindsight, although we weren't. We just came up under Steve Bruce. So this was actually Steve Bruce started this season and then left in like the November, I think it was. Alex McLeish came in. So we got relegated. We actually finished 19th as well, and 20th was that Derby team with 11 points. So we got 35 points, which if you think now that'd probably keep you up. Obviously the
Just
league
about,
that year
yeah.
was well back then you did need kind of,
Oh yeah, yeah.
35
You
sorry,
needed
36,
40
37
points.
points to
Yeah.
stay up. Yeah, true, but especially with that Derby team who kind
Yeah.
of, kind of corrupted the points tally for the rest of the league because they're obviously the record low points tally still to this day. We'll get it out of the way. The Derby did not go well this year. We lost 2-1 at home to Villa in like the November. Obviously, Bonlaw scored late, and it was one of I remember watching it at home, and it was awful. And I was kind of just at that age where like um we'd lost to Villa before, obviously a couple of years earlier
The
and stuff,
derbies
but
really started to
I'd kind of
mean
got
something for us at
yeah,
that sort of time, didn't
uh,
they? Yeah.
um, yeah, and you're kind of at that age where it goes past a bit of fun and it really does piss you off. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I got a bit of a kind of a bit of pride in a way. I remember I was still in primary school, got into primary school, and like I was the Blues fan, like all the Villa fans went for. But I took a bit of pride in that. I was like, yeah, they know they've come for the main man, haven't they? And I got my revenge a few years later. It was all good. The away one was even worse. Obviously we lost 5-1. Let's forget about it. My first ever away game as well. Yeah, I remember being so excited to go. I remember I only found out like a couple of days before that I was going. I was so excited, and then it was I think we were 2-0 down at half time, and we were lucky it was only 5-1. We were just horrendous. But despite being relegated, did have some good memories. We did the double over Spurs, who weren't what they were, weren't, they hadn't become what they would become at that point yet, in terms of a really good Premier League team. But we beat them 3-2 away in Alex McLeish's first game. Seb Larson scored that amazing goal in the last minute to win it. That is an incredible game of football. Beat them 4-1 at home, really great. And then two really memorable games against Arsenal. One we drew 1-1 away at the Emirates when they were top of the league at the time. And then the home game was the 2-2 draw where Eduardo broke his leg. Do you remember that?
Of
Where
course, yeah.
yeah, and that is not talked about enough as like that is an all-time Premier League classic.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable game because we went 1-0 up. In fact, Eduardo broke his leg in like the third minute or something, so we had a man sent off, Martin Taylor. Then we went 1-0 up. James McFadden scored a direct free kick. Arsenal flipped it around to 2-1. Theo Walcott scored them both, I think. And then we got a penalty in like the 95th minute, which McFadden scored. And then there was the
Yeah,
famous bit where
William
William Gallas
Gallas.
cried on the
Yeah.
pitch. Yeah, yeah. Where he like, I'm not saying like, if you could tell how much it meant to him, but he kind of, for the penalty, he was sat in like the opposite end of the pitch or something, wasn't he? And he kind of kicked off at full time. So yeah, that was an unbelievable game of football. And then it was really frustrating because even though we went down, it was like there was such obvious points where if we hadn't dropped points there and hadn't dropped points there, we would have, you know, could have very conceivably stayed up. We drew Derby 1-1 at home. One of their very, very few points came against us when they scored last minute. Our penultimate home game, we were 2-0 up against Liverpool and ended up drawing 2-2. These are games that if we'd held on, even in just one or the other, we would have stayed up because we ultimately went down on the last day to I think Reading went. Did Reading go? Yeah, Reading went down as well, and then who
Yeah.
stayed up?
Was it Wolves?
Oh no, that was a couple of
No.
years later. Who else was it? It'll come to me because Derby went down as well. I can't remember who the other one was. It wasn't West Brom either because I think they were in the Championship as well. It'll come to me. If anyone knows, leave a comment if you remember who it was. A few players that we signed that
Fulham
year.
stayed
Olivier
up.
Capper, you mentioned. Fulham. Yes, yes. That's right. Yeah, Roy Hodgson's Fulham. Yeah. Yeah, Olivier Capo played for us that year. We signed him. Liam Ridgewell, Gary O'Connor, remember him. Stuart Parnaby, Daniel de Ridder, obviously got an assist against Villa for that Forsell header. James McFadden came in the January. David Murphy, Frank Woodrew,
Frank
and
Woodrow,
then we had
yeah, yeah.
a few loan players. Johan Joru obviously went on to have a mad career for Switzerland, going to World Cups and stuff. And then the lesser spotted Richard Kingson, who made a howler against Pompey in his first game with the ball. He was a keeper. The ball like slipped under his arms, and we never saw him again. And then there was a theory that his wife was a witch as well. That was a bit of a rumor that went around. I don't know any more on that. Don't really want to know.
I wish
Kind
that
of summed
would
him
have
his time up
happened
at Blues.
during the Trillion Trophy era of Birmingham City. That would have been
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, that would have been fun. Yeah, we he ended up having a good career actually. Went to like AFCON and stuff with Ghana, I think. Was it Ghana? He had a quite a good career in the end.
That will take us on very nicely to part of the season preview, which will be the new kits.
Yeah,
So we're still awaiting our third
yes,
kit, as I believe you probably are as well, because they don't tend to be released until the season kind of starts. But we've got both home and away. Happy? Not happy?
yeah. Well, so first of all, on the third kits, we've done a third kit both years under Nighthead. So I assume we'll do one. They're all about revenue, aren't they? They're all about they seem to release it deliberately later, like November, December. I don't know if it's a bit of a pre-Christmas push. Probably makes sense. I'm kind of like I'm not wild on ours. I'm sure Blues fans have seen them. Obviously the home one is pretty much just a plain blue shirt with a bit of a weird collar, and then everything's in gold, like the sponsor and the badge are in gold and so on
It's a
because it is
proper
our
Nike
150th
template job,
anniversary.
isn't it?
It is. The badge actually has, obviously, our badge has the 1875 at the bottom of it, and it's kind of got a nice 1875 to 2025 because this is our 150th anniversary year. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's the nicer of the two. If I'm going to get one, it'll be that one. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. But like I say, Nike template. The away one I'm really not mad on. I don't know why. So it's like a white shirt with a blue sash running across it, but it's kind of like goes from black to like
There's
blue
a
on the
gradient on
sash.
it, isn't there? I think it's. I actually quite like. for a blue shirt, the away one. I think the away one's quite nice. It's a bit different. It reminds me a little bit of the was it 125th anniversary sash kit from 10 years ago.
140th,
140. Sorry, where did I get that from?
140th.
Yeah, it's the one from 10, yeah, I literally said 10 years ago straight afterwards. Um, it's a obviously it's a bit like that in style of sash. I think I think it's a much improvement on some of your other away kits, right?
That's fair. I'm not wild on it. I think it's fine. I think that sash one you're talking about is much nicer. I think it had some really nice details in it. Like the sash
Yeah.
had like fans' names written in it and stuff. I thought that was a really nice detail. I think it's okay, and I don't know why the badge doesn't have the 1875 to 2025 on the away kit. That's really weird.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know why that's not on there. You know what is really nice is we've released some a training shirt which is like a grey like triangular pattern, and then the badge and the sponsor are in blue. I think that looks really nice. I'll maybe try to get it on at some point. And we've got a keeper kit. Our keeper away kit this year is also a Nike template, and it's blue. It's kind of like it's hard to describe. It's like a centralized badge, and it's like a dark blue gradient pattern of light and lines going into the middle, and it gets lighter. You know, like the Nike template for keepers. It's one of them.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That should have been our home shirt. I don't know why it isn't. And in fact, I might try to track that down actually, because that's really nice. Um, but no, it kind of we've had Nike for 5 or 6 years now, and I don't see them going anywhere because I know the club does have connections to them and so on. But yeah, in 5 or 6 years, I think we've had a few nice kits out of 15, 16 kits now. I'm kind of not really blown away. They've not been my favorite kit supplier. They've done a few great ones, but yeah, I wouldn't mind mixing it up if possible at some point. But no, they're my thoughts on Blues. How about Villa? You got your new kits as well.
I was going to say, I think one of the problems you'll have being supplied by a major manufacturer is if they tier their clubs, and obviously you've been in Championship for more than 10 years now. You were in League One last year. You must be a fourth bracket team for Nike at most.
Yeah,
Probably it depends how they tier it. Whereby you're only going to get um, template kits pretty much.
yeah,
But that'd be why. Yeah, for us, we did talk about the away kit because it came out before the last day of the season. Really not a fan of the away kit. I've seen it in person now. I won't be buying it. Not really a fan, which is a shame. Because some of the leaks and things beforehand, it was big enough to be arguably one of our best ever away kits, and I think it's really bang average. But I think having looked all the away kits in the Premier League this year, it's a bad year for away kits in the Premier League. They're all pretty rubbish or bland. And who is it really a surprise with the amount of kits that we have these days? Um, the home kit is really nice. I can't wait to cop one. It's evolution rather than revolution, if that makes sense. There's
yeah,
not a whole amount of change from last year, but last year's kit is one of the best kits we've ever had, and so the gold detailing is nice. The Holt end swirls on the sleeve cuffs is very very nice. Um, I wish the Adidas stripes had stayed claret, but obviously I guess if they've made them white, if they'd have kept them claret, it's just one less thing they haven't changed, I suppose, on the shirt. Um, but yeah, I'm a fan. You can now get it in long sleeve, so I might cop a long sleeve version. But the only annoying thing about it is that the big thing with the kit this year is it's based on the Holt end, which is why there's gold on it, and the Holt end swirls are on the cuffs of the short sleeve, but not on the long sleeve. So make
mm,
that make
yeah.
sense. But the long sleeve version is only £5 more expensive than the short sleeve, which I thought it'd be more than that. So
Fair enough. Yeah, a bit of a weird one there. We also do we've probably talked about this before. The price of football kits now
yeah.
outrageous. 65 quid the Blues kits are. It's not
That's a
like
steal, Dan. That's a
yeah,
steal. Ours
outrageous.
at 85.
That is. I mean, I'm sure when we're in the Premier League next year, ours will be 85 as well. But yeah, so maybe that's one perk of being in a lower division. Um, so yeah, yeah. So they're kits, but yeah, I'm sure we'll have a third kit come out eventually. Hopefully, that's the one which makes me go yes. But yeah, otherwise that keeper kit, yeah, I might go for that instead.
Right, let's get on to that outrageous statement you just made about you
Yeah.
being in the Premier League next year. Talk to us about your
Yeah,
summer, Dan, and
yeah,
do you think that's going to be the case?
quite possibly. Yeah, well, it's slightly more to say about. Well, let's be honest, I think there's a lot more to say about Blues than Villa this summer. We've had a really eventful summer, and it's been. yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, excited, very excited. And feeling very positive. I don't normally take, and I know you're the same. Like preseason, it is preseason. It's not, it's not something to really take seriously. It is fitness. You could have an awful preseason and still be, um, super like have a great season and vice versa. It doesn't really matter. I'm really encouraged by the signings, the momentum we're carrying in from last season. The amount of it's not all about money, obviously, but it is clear the ambition is, you know, the powers that be, they want this like now. They're very serious about it, about promotion and so on. So I'm excited. I've been to a couple of the preseason games. I went to Port Vale away last week, which we won 2-0, which was our first team. And I went to Nottingham Forest at the weekend at home, which we won 1-0. Again, it's pre-season. They're both, to me, like I went not because, I can't wait to see the team, can't wait to see the game, because pre-season games are a bit sleepy, aren't they? They're not, they're played at half pace. They're not really like
Yeah.
a serious indicator of what's going to happen. Um, they were more a day out more than anything. Port Vale was a new ground to tick off, a ground we hadn't been to before. It's get out the house for a few hours more than anything. But it was encouraging. Forest played a good team. They played Chris Wood came on, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, Matt Sells. They played some good players. It's so to win 1-0 was encouraging. And I think the new lads look good. Some of the players we got in, I'm really encouraged by. And it's not. I hope it's not just being brainwashed, but like I don't like watch too much you know like content or whatever you want to call it of like all this stuff and preseason stuff and all that. I don't watch loads and loads of it. But I'm really encouraged by like non-Blues fans being really excited about it as well. People like I don't know if you know or if anyone watches like Benjamin Bloom on YouTube as an Ipswich blogger. He's put us to finish like second this year. Like they're not the top 20 podcast who are really good. They've got us. I think they've got us seventh, but that's one of the lower ones I've seen. Actually, a lot of them have us to get into the playoffs. So yeah, so first let's go for the loans for keeper. He's coming on loan from Brighton. Not sure he's going to be starting the games to begin with because Ryan Allsop seems to have kept his place based on the last couple of preseason games. But encouraged by that. Tommy Doyle is also was part of that England team coming on loan from Wolves. He from the
Yeah,
two games
that is a
I've seen
great
live in
signing.
person,
He was starting
yeah,
Premier League games for Wolves under Gary O'Neill for like a year and a half. Like, he's
yeah,
not like he's not someone who hasn't played a lot of football. He's played a lot of Premier League football.
yeah, and he's I was and I still wouldn't break them up. Don't get me wrong, but when he came in, I was like, oh well, he's going to have a job getting in Peckin Iwata's way, who have been unbelievable. But now I've watched him play. I think you've got to find a way to get all three of them in, and I think Doyle will be playing probably behind the striker to start with. Um, yeah, he's looked really sharp in the preseason games, and again, it's only preseason, but he's played really well, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We obviously signed Aaron Cashin on loan from Brighton as well, who's a centre back. And then on permanence, we signed Damari Gray, who's obviously come back after 10 years from El Ettifaq, which I think is with Gerard. I think that was where Gerard was the manager,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
he
El
so
Ettifaq, I think it was.
you look at the Saudi
Um,
side, the Saudi sides they were signing Mane and Benzema. He got Demarai Gray and Jordan Henderson.
I know Damari Gray's had a bit of a weird time since he left Blues. Obviously went to Saudi, was at Everton, obviously won a Premier League with Leicester. But again, we look good in pre-season and we need fast wingers. I think he fits the bill. Bright to say Samuel's coming from Fenerbahce, obviously used to play for QPR. Really excited to see him. Kanye Fujimoto begin with. I assume it's a fitness thing or something like that. And then we signed Kyogo Furuhashi from Rennes, who obviously made a real name for himself at Celtic, and heard a lot of great buzz about him. Was an absolute goal machine at Celtic. He's kind of struggled to get involved a little in pre-season based on what I've seen, but nonetheless, looking forward to that. We lost a few players, but a lot of them are players who I kind of think we thought would go, like Hansen, Peacock Farrell have gone on loan, Longelo, Yukiyama, Brandon Kayla, which is a bit of a shame for Brandon Kayla because he obviously came through our academy. The one,
But you did
obviously, Alfie
sell
May has
your
gone to
best
Huddersfield, which
striker.
is a bit of a shame, but
Yeah, you sold your best striker to
he's not our best
Huddersfield.
striker. Come on. Alfie May, Alfie May is a very good player, and I think he probably deserved to stay, but I can't blame the club for letting him go. I think it's a fair.
Have you
Um,
still got Lyndon
we've
Dykes?
made a profit on him by all accounts. We've still got Lyndon Dykes, and I'm fine with that. He against Port Vale, he got an assist for the second goal, and it was I think it was Water put a cross in, and Dykes like headed it back across goal, and Willemsen finished it off. And I was like, yeah, like Alfie May couldn't do that. Jay Stansfield wouldn't do that. Dykes did that. You know, it was like an alternate thing. Obviously, at the time of recording, we don't know exactly what's going on, but the big rumor as well is Chuba Akpom is a big rumor as well.
Well, what
With
I've heard on
from
Chuba Akpom is that you want him, you put a bid in, Ajax said yes. Ipswich came in when he got his medical booked with you, and he wants to go to Ipswich and has a medical booked. You've put a new offer in, which is more, and Ajax want him to go there,
mm,
but he doesn't want to join you. He wants to join Ipswich. So God knows who he's going to play for on Friday night if he plays for either of you on Friday night.
yeah, yeah, fascinating to see that. He would be an unreal signing. We're also linked in the window as well, earlier in the window as well, to Hwang Hee-chan at Wolves, who was played for them in the Premier League and so on. I don't know how much there was in that, but the rumours were it was going to cost us like £20 million or something. It wasn't actually that feasible. But I honestly would not put it past us to drop something close to that. If you bear in mind we spent what, like, 15 million on Jay Stansfield in League One, I honestly wouldn't put it past the board to stick some serious money on. Um, so yeah, look, I'm really excited. There's gonna be bad moments. I just think we should bear in mind that if we finish outside the playoffs, if we finish ninth, 10th, kind of depends on context and how it's all gone. That doesn't necessarily mean disaster, but I do think we're going to be. If I had to say a number now, I would say third or fourth or maybe fifth. I think we'll be in that
Or sixth,
ballpark.
or seventh, or eighth, or ninth. Pick one. You can't just list all the
It's
positions
no.
now.
I think let's just enjoy the ride as well. Fine. Well, if I give a number, you've got to give a number for Villa as well. So I'm going to
All right.
say I think we'll be fourth. Fourth is my number. We'll get to Villa later though. You can give your number later on Villa. Um, yeah, yeah, that's my feeling. I think Ipswich will be up there. Obviously, they're coming with Kieran McKenna still there. I think Southampton with Will Still will be good. I think that's an interesting appointment. Coventry always pick up speed and always do well. I don't see Wrexham being right up there. I don't see West Brom being right up there. I don't see Leicester being right up
No, not
there. I
at
think they'll
all.
be fine, but I don't think they'll be right up there. They've obviously had a bit of faffed around with their manager and stuff, and possible points deduction and all that stuff. Sheffield United, I'd want to get rid of Chris Wilder, but I think they'll be up there as well. Really, only Ipswich, Southampton, and really they're the only ones that really make me go, "Ooh," you know. I don't think that's arrogance. But
But
again,
also,
I
the
could be
Championship is
completely
the most
wrong. It could
unpredictable league
be
in the world. Everyone had Luton to finish top of the league last year, and they went down.
absolutely. No, yeah, and it's if it doesn't happen next year, but there's encouraging signs, it's not a disaster. When was the last time it's been 10 years since we finished in the top half of the championship even, so let's enjoy the ride. We ain't got it. If we don't go up, let's build and go again. But I think we've got a real shot at it, and I think we'll be in the conversation until very, very late in the season. So that's my thoughts for Blues. Um, how about Villa? You've had a bit of well, you've had a apologies if I waffled on there, but we have had a much busier summer than Villa. But what's your feeling? How's pre-season gone? Have you been to any of the games? Obviously not really any signings.
No, I haven't been to any of the games. For pretty much every year since we got promoted back to the Premier League, of what we do at least one, maybe two, kind of like big European away day, and I've always wanted to do it, and for one reason or another, I just haven't been able to do it. And we've got a double header this weekend, Villarreal and Marseille, and I can't do either of them. I can't go to either of them. Uh, but I also don't mind. I think I said this last year. I had a real football season now, especially for us of late. It's been so intense. We've been fighting on a lot of fronts at the sharp end of the league, but it kind of wears you out. And so last year I had a good sort of break and didn't really watch pre-season. This year I haven't watched any of it. I've kept an eye on the results, and to be honest, I'm not too bothered because I don't know whether it's something as you get a bit older, you notice more and more that they're just run out games. That the scores are meaningless. You might be 1-0 up, you change half the squad at half time, and you lose the second half 2-0. And they're kind of nothing games. I don't mind us having preseason tours in America if it gives them their Premier League football fix in our preseason, if you know what I mean. But we've had a really, but
Yeah,
so I took a step back anyway, and so it's been quiet. But in general, we've had a really quiet summer. There was a lot of noise about outgoings. There's not been much about incomings, and what I've kind of been saying to people that I know is most important thing is that we keep our best players. Look at Bournemouth and Brentford this summer. I mean, it's been us in the past. They have been cherry picked. Brentford in particular have had all their best players picked. The manager's gone, and you look, a team that almost got into Europe last year. I mean, everyone's tipping them to be down for relegation or in a relegation fight with a completely unproven manager. So the noise around Emi Martinez seems to have gone. Touch wood, which is great. There's been sort of paper talk about Ollie Watkins, but I've never really given it any time of day because I don't think he's going to go. There's a lot of noise about Jacob Ramsey. I think that is a potential, um, but I know Unai Emery is a big fan of Jacob Ramsey, but he has that sort of poison chalice of being pure profit through the academy sale. Um, there's nothing like selling one of your own in the days of PSR, Dan. Um, So yeah, we've kept on to all our players. The main thing is we've tried to shift players out, really, and that has gone so-so. Philippe Coutinho is no longer an Aston Villa player. This may shock people because he
Oy.
has not played for years, but he is now no longer contracted to Aston Villa. And like I said in what we're wearing, it was a great loan spell, but the permanent deal has been nothing short of a disaster, footballing wise and financially. And I think I'm going to repeat things I've said over the last 2 seasons is that we're still navigating windows um, with damage done from the Steven Gerrard era. He had two transfer windows with us and kind of mucked our finances up by giving players big contracts that we now can't shift. Like we've struggled to shift Diego Carlos. We can apparently Leander Dendoncker, who is currently with the under 21s, will not kick a ball for Aston Villa ever again. Is on 90 grand a week. How on earth are we ever meant to shift that
Yeah,
player? Um,
yeah.
yeah, and you look at the windows. Two hits, lots of misses. Luca Dean and Boubacar Kamara have been great. Were two very good signings, but they're both on big money because they're Gerrard signings. They're all on big money. Um, so yeah, it's mostly been outgoings. A lot of youngsters have either gone out on loan or we've kind of moved them on as kind of pure profit. Interesting to see how Louis Barry gets on at Sheffield United. We had two incomings, one of which has gone straight out on loan with an option to buy, which is Yashin Ozkan, a youngster. So he will probably never see him in an Aston Villa shirt. Um, but one incoming that really matters is the goalkeeper, Marco Bizot. So Robin Olsen is no longer an Aston Villa player. He was out of contract. He's gone on the free. I think he's gone to Malmo, back to Sweden. So we needed a second choice goalkeeper. So we've signed a second choice goalkeeper, and I can exclusively guarantee he will start the first game of the season at home to Newcastle. That is the Second City podcast exclusive seal of approval because Emi Martinez is suspended. So
Obviously. Oh, of
he
course he is. Yeah, of
yeah.
course he is.
Yeah, you thought I was joking. He will definitely start the first game of the season.
I
Maybe
was, yeah.
even the first three because I think it was a violent conduct red card. Um,
Oh gosh.
which is
Probably a good thing
why.
for him because there's nothing worse than. Sorry, go on.
So, no, no, yeah, it's a good thing for the new goalkeeper. He can come in, he can play some minutes immediately. And Martinez can now because he plays a lot for us and he plays a lot of international football. He can have sort of like almost like an extended preseason, I suppose. I know he's only a goalkeeper, but Ollie Watkins has looked sharp. I don't think we've won any of our preseason games, but I really don't care, to be honest, because you're changing the team. And I've been lured in before. I remember the 2019 pre-season, just before our first season back in the Premier League, our last pre-season game away at RB Leipzig, and we won 3-1. And I remember after that game going, oh my God, we're going to finish in the top half. I was talking to friends and family who said, we're going to finish in the Europa League. And I was like, well, steady. I was maybe a bit steep, but I don't think we are going to be that good. And then we stayed up with 34 points, 35. We scraped 35 points or whatever it was.
It's weird
So,
you use that example because my when I had my haircut today, my barber said he
mm,
used exactly that example.
yeah,
Leipzig, he's a Villa fan.
yeah,
I thought it was interesting. Are you not concerned at all that obviously you say you're not brought anyone in? Might not be a problem because you did have a good season last year. But bear in
mhm,
mind you had that sort of second wave of like Asensio and Rashford coming in.
yeah.
Obviously Rashford's gone to Barcelona, which is really mad to think. But I'd be interested to see how he gets on a side note. Not sure what's going on with Asensio. I don't know if there's any talk of him maybe coming back. Are you not worried though, like because the loans have gone back? You are maybe a little bit weaker than you ended last season?
Yeah, we are lighter. We're definitely lighter. And I always thought that this summer we just needed a couple of players. We just need a few additions. Like the kit, evolution, not revolution. You forget as well, maybe if you think back to the season that we just had, the likes of Ollie Watkins played at the Euros, came back with a niggle, um, struggled to kind of get into his groove because he was managing injuries for most of the season. Full preseason, he looks razor sharp in preseason. Um, Leon Bailey had the same sort of thing. Whether he stays or not, I don't know. Emiliano Buendia and Tyron Mings missed the first part of the year because had those ACL injuries. They've played a lot of minutes of preseason, so they're almost like new signings or good additions into the squad. I mean, Emi Buendia was on loan at Bayer Leverkusen and played a lot of minutes at the back end of the season. So um, we'll see. You need players in the shop window. He was linked with Leeds. Um, I do think we need a couple of additions, but I don't think we need that much. But as we are recording, Fabrizio has tweeted. I'm not big on Fabrizio, but his word is almost gospel a lot of the time. Um, is that we are closing in on Evan Guessand from OGC Nice in France for a 35 million euro fee. I've never heard of him. I've had a quick Google, and he's a forward player. So
Heard it here first.
heard it here first. And also we've got Daniel Marlin, who didn't get a lot of minutes after we signed him in January. He's had a very good preseason as well. Um, so, and I think if you remember 2 seasons ago, well, you obviously didn't watch our preseason games, but we were playing with Mings, Torres, and Konza, and so I think you're going to kind of see us shift into some sort of back three, back five. Um, that was the initial plan when we signed those players, or that preseason. Then Mings did his ACL on the first day of the season, so that's all been thrown out the window. So I think you'll see because we like an attacking fullbacks, especially on the left hand side. I think they'll see a lot more of Ian Martson, but playing slightly more forward, and then with the cover of three centre backs, a little bit like how Manchester City and Arsenal play with sort of an inverting fullback. So that's kind of my prediction for this year in terms of how I think we'll play. We do need a few additions. We've been linked with Asensio again, but I'm not stressed because we've got a good team anyway. I think people forget we actually have a very good team. We don't need many players.
I think it's fair to say as well, whilst you've had sorry, a quick side note on Marlon, who I only really know him for was it the Euros last year or the World Cup in
The
Qatar? He
Euros,
was really good for the Netherlands.
yeah,
He's a really good player. It pains me to say. He when he gets going, I think he'll be very good for you. But I think you say it's been a quiet summer for Villa. It has been a quiet window in general. I think it's fair
yeah,
to say. I don't think the transfer window is what it was 10 years ago. In general, now deadline day is not what it was. It is. I think it all peaked in terms of hype, and Sky Sports and all them really overdid it,
yeah,
and now people just don't care as much. And I think as we go into this era of we're in this era of like instant news. Things aren't a
yeah,
shock anymore. It gets tweeted
yeah,
before it gets said on the news. A lot of the excitement has gone out of it, in my opinion. I don't know if it's maybe quieter this year because obviously we're going into a World Cup year at this time next year. Obviously, the World Cup will just ended. I don't know if players are like, especially English players, they got, in terms of because obviously in the English league, they think really hard before they move because if they're looking at a squad to get in next summer, they've got to be
yeah.
in exactly the right place at the right time.
I think
Maybe
it's one of
that's
the
a
big
reason why it's slowed a
reasons.
bit. I don't know.
I think it's one of the big reasons why Emi Martinez had no interest in going to Saudi Arabia on the eve of the World Cup. Yeah, they
Yeah,
can. The money's one thing, but
yeah, exactly.
especially for a lot of nations, but in particular the South American regions, playing for your country is like everything. and you need to be in the best form to do that.
Yeah, and it's why like I think not to get like sidetracked on it all, but like obviously there's been talk, and it won't touch wood, it won't happen. But like FIFA a couple of years ago, they wanted to turn the World Cup into a biannual tournament rather than to like every 2 years, rather than every four. And I don't think they realise what a fundamental change that would be.
Yeah,
Like say you mentioned Martinez, this might be the last World Cup he goes to, so he's got to
yeah.
think really hard about it. If it was every 2 years, it would completely change the dynamics of like transfers and players' careers and all sorts. I think it would really and really change that. But no, that's just a theory. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's really any proof of that, but that's just a theory.
So you told me to put a number on it. I've had a think. Like I said, you're gonna hear me say this every year. Europe, any European competition is the minimum. I think we're going to finish fifth, and I think the trophy drought's going to end. This is going to be the year that the trophy drought is going to end. Whatever competition, I don't care what competition it is. It obviously won't be the Community Shield this year because we'll win it next year after we win the FA Cup. Um, no, I think we'll have a good crack at the Europa League. But these competitions are hard to win. Um, I'd get, whatever. It can be any of them. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'll only take this trophy. Any of them. They're all great competitions to win. Um, if I had to pick, maybe the FA Cup, but we're not gonna any of them. I think that because the way I described when I was at Wembley and in the pub, the Maurizio Pochettino Spurs team was an unreal Premier League team. They were fantastic. They finished second a few times, got to a few finals, but they didn't win anything. We don't want to be in this era where we've got a top class manager, some of the best players we've ever had in certain positions, and not win anything. So I think this is going to be the year that we win something.
So then to follow up, I'm going to ask, would you take what Spurs had last year? Would you take 17th? Not that that's, I don't know, that's not going to happen. That's just like, I
100%.
just throw it
Wouldn't
like for
even,
reference.
no,
Yeah.
don't need a moment to think about it. 100%. Look, don't get me wrong, playing in the Champions League last year was great. But and I'll remember it forever. No one's, but in the general context,
No one else will. Yeah.
we're all gonna remember that Spurs finished 17th and won the Europa League with one of their worst sides ever. And you can't
Yeah.
take that, no matter how crap they were, you can't take that trophy away from them. You can, yeah, in a heartbeat. It's not even a. It'd be a painful season up until you win the trophy at the end of it. But who cares?
I mean, we argued preach to the converted. I mean, I've seen us finish 18th and win something, and you know what?
Yeah,
No regrets. No
no.
regrets. It was pretty special because everyone remembers it. Um, okay, so I think we're nearly done. Obviously, Villa have still got best part of 2 weeks really before your season starts against Newcastle. Blues obviously are playing this Friday night. We get underway against Ipswich. What a game to start with! I mean, like it's a relegated team against a promoted team. Two teams that are expected to be right up there. Friday night under the lights, getting everything going. Super excited. I'll give you a quick prediction. Under the lights, I think we're going to do it. 2-1 at home. I cannot wait. I think it's a great time to play them because I think they'll be right up there. So let's try and catch them at the start before they've really got going. And then we've actually got Sheffield United in the League Cup first round on, I think it's Wednesday night now. I think it's the 13th. So I think that's Wednesday. Um, Obviously, they've changed manager. Not sure exactly how that's going to work out for them. And I'm not sure it's going to be their priority at all. Again, it's at home. I wouldn't be shocked if we were able to nick a result there as well. So I'm feeling pretty confident getting started. So that's pretty exciting. And I think that's just about everything this week, Cal, unless there's anything else you got to add.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add. I think it's going to be a great game between you and Ipswich, and I think yeah, it could be a high scoring sort of game. It feels like a good curtain raiser for as predictable as the fixture was before the random fixtures came out. I think it'd be a good game to start the championship season.
Yes, yeah. I
Um,
literally, yeah, I might have even said on, I can't remember if I said it on the podcast. I'm sure I said to you, I said I
yeah.
could see them sticking us on the Friday night against a relegated team. So either the EFL listened to the podcast or they just thought the same as me. Um, so yeah, okay, that's just about it for this week then. We'll be back next week. And in fact, we're going to be back very soon because we're actually going to do, obviously, we haven't really talked about it in this episode. The Blues documentary on Amazon, built in Birmingham, Brady and the Blues, came out just last week. We are going to have a proper discussion on it. I've seen it. Callum hasn't watched it yet because he's been away and so on. I'm going to do just like a little, like, sort of initial thoughts thing on it, a reaction, sort of short video on it, giving my thoughts on it. And we'll be back next week, though, with a proper sort of breakdown of it, or whenever Callum has had the chance to watch it, we'll get on that. And then obviously Villa will be back with their games, so we'll then get talking about all that as well. So thank you for joining us for the very first episode of Series 3. We're delighted to be back. And in the meantime, keep right on and shit on the Villa.
See you next week, Dan, and up the Villa.